Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Elijah Shove. I'm a co-founder of QLAG, and today is our interview podcast, the second one for 2020. I'm joined here with Riley Standifer, my other co-founder. So last month, Riley interviewed me, and this month I'll be interviewing Riley, so you can kind of get a little bit of background on who he is and, kind of the mission that we're kind of going after here. Okay, Riley, can you give me a brief introduction?
Hey everybody. As Elijah said, my name is Riley Standifer. I'm a senior at Leesburg High School and I dual enroll through Lake Sumter. And I'm actually from Fruitland Park, Florida. I go to Community United Methodist in Fruitland Park. That's in the Florida Conference. And I'm excited to be Florida's Conference Connection on Youth Ministry co-president.
That's really cool. Can you tell me a little bit more about what you do as co-president?
Yeah, so as some of you may know, CCYM, as we like to call it, is the connection between the conference and our youth. And we get to provide that link between church and the conference for advocating for young people and their inclusion and leadership.
So, how did you get started in the church? How have you kind of developed over the years?
Yeah, so I grew up in the church. For those of you in the South, I actually grew up at Warren Willis United Methodist Camp. My parents both work there, and I actually work there now. And church was always around me, and uh, conference was also around me as I got to meet lots of different groups and pastors that came through camp. So getting involved was definitely an easier path for me than others. And having a church that could support me and a conference board that was willing to have me definitely helped getting me involved in conference really easy.
It's very nice. So, recently you've been getting involved at the conference level. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so throughout my work in CCYM, it became apparent to me that young people were not being included at the level that I would like to see at annual conference. So a lot of my work in the annual conference has been to be that person that can bridge the gap or advocate for other young people to do the same. So I was actually elected to serve at our conference's jurisdictional conference as our first delegate, which means I'll also be going to general conference as our first reserve. So I'm pretty excited to be able to represent at uh, such a level as general and jurisdictional conference.
That's really great being elected so young. So, how are you feeling headed into General Conference?
Yeah. So something that I've always been praying about and thinking as I entered my name for election and eventually election is um, what do I want the church to look like and how can I leave my impact on that? And I think mostly I would like to see the inclusion of all people uh, it raised up just a little bit. I wish that we would value diversity within our churches because I think it is sacred. Um, and a way that we can do that is by including people who don't look like white, straight, cis men.
That's a pretty bold statement. So, I'm going to go back to what you mentioned earlier, and that is kind of the interconnectedness between generations. Can you kind of explain to me a little bit about why you believe that's important and why you think that that's what needs to be done in your conference?
Yeah, so I value intergenerational ministry because I think diversity is sacred, like I said. Um, God gives us different perspectives in this life. And I think that we should be able to have empathy and see things from other people's viewpoints because people have different lives and different things, and young people have different experiences from our older generations. So I think that we should hold them both to the same value.
That's a really good way to put that. That's something that we're increasingly finding here in North Georgia also as well through some of our work with the Commission. Our new mental health initiative is actually kind of focused on bridging those generational gaps when it comes to mental health and kind of breaking the stigma and the boundaries that are associated with that. I think it's a really good thing that I think we're going to start to see more of in the church and maybe even more in society. Start to heal these generational wounds that we've seen kind of created in the divide between millennials and baby boomers. I think that we're going to start to see, some real intergenerational reconciliation, and I think that's something definitely to strive for. Now, there's one more thing I want to get to before we wrap up, and I know that it was news about a month ago, but how are you feeling about the protocol?
So I think I can speak for at least a couple people when I say I was surprised when it happened. Mostly because I just didn't know that it was happening. But something that I was reminded about was something that I was learning when I was getting into uh, all of this general conference stuff. And it was this phrase that if we want to remain together in Christian body, we need to learn to walk loosely with each other. And I think that that's a beautiful way to put it, that we have different roles and tasks that we need to fill within this world. And if staying together is going to hurt us, I think it would be silly to continue to sort of push that nail deeper. We should learn to walk loosely. So I appreciate
And
you asking.
yeah, and I apologize for those of you who are unfamiliar with what the protocol is. The protocol was an agreement recently signed between a lot of prominent leaders from across the ideological spectrum in the United Methodist Church. It's called the Protocol of Separation and Grace, and it's kind of these guidelines on how the church can kind of separate peacefully and kind of move forward. And it was surprising to a lot of people that it came out, but it's looking as though it's going to be one of the major things that's debated on at General Conference here in 2020.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. If you'd like to see more from us, you can follow us on our Facebook page at QLAG UMC. If you'd like to hear more about me and my ministry, you can find me on all social medias at Riley Standifer.
And you can find me as at Elijah.show for _show if I'm sure you'll be able to figure it out. And I'd like to give a quick shout out and thank you, everyone. We're only a month into this new ministry, and it's been very exciting for us to get working on this. And it's been really encouraging to see the support that we're already starting to gather. We bypassed our goals already. We've reached over 50 page likes, and I can just say thank you so much, everyone, for being so supportive so early on. It means a lot to us. We'd like to get 100 by annual conference season. That's still months away. I'm sure we'll hit it. We're at 64 right now. Y'all have been amazing so far, and I really think we're going to start to change minds. And if not change minds, then at least get stories out there, stories that aren't normally heard. So if you appreciate that work, then please like our page and join the conversation.